The Toledo Shipyard Monster. Fire Battalion Document 1. A fire lieutenant's account of the alarm at the Collingwood Museum of Art and Antiquities. The sworn report of Fire Lieutenant James McLucky regarding fireground fatalities attributed to a strange wolf-like animal that leapt from the flames. Note: Lieutenant McLucky merely affirmed the authenticity of this statement on the grounds that the Bible forbids the swearing of oaths. What follows is most assuredly a strange tale. I will make a deliberate effort to report my story in the cold, professional manner befitting a fire service officer, though what I am about to recount is at last utterly unbelievable. And so I, being deeply aware that my chance for promotion to firefighter captain may be forever lost, and this owing to the incredible and uncustomary nature of this fire, so nevertheless feel a duty to submit some writ of explanation for the alarm in which 4 firemen were killed. To speak of this fire, this conflagration, as a battle of physical forces, as merely man versus fire, is to willingly subvert and cloak the spiritual dimensions of this tragic incident. Route 2 at Cherry Ridge Road beside the Maple Grove is the place forever remembered by the older firemen and by those few ambulance crewmen and sheriff's deputies whose names still appear on the roster decades later. For those of us who were on active duty with the fire department that summer, the memory of this place never ceases to haunt and predestine us. The ghosts of that evening return to us uninvited. We speak of them rarely among the old firefighters, in quiet firehouse kitchens, hushed and afraid. And there are those nights out on the engine after a run, when the rest of the crew are asleep and the smoke of burning wood and cotton has blackened the sweat-soaked bunker coats and fire helmets. It is there among the stars and stillness that the somber ghosts return. There are days when I travel to the amusement park and stay overnight at the beachfront hotel. I listen to the children's laughter at lakeside picnics and watch the merry midway goers at dusk. Amid the spinning arcade games and roller coaster towers, a rocket boy raids comets through the starry constellations above, and little girls buy saltwater taffy while cuddling toy bears forever with love. I met a young woman at the charming old bookstore this morning, and we talked for a long while about literature and art. Somehow she happened to talk about her father. I never met him, she said, and she showed me a picture of him taken the night of his death. He was a rather dashing man, dark and strikingly handsome, perhaps Lebanese or Syrian. The man was standing in front of a roller coaster. He was killed while driving home from Cedar Point in 1964, she went on. I've always remembered the station wagon with its souvenirs and cotton candy, a father, a mother, a little girl, and two little boys. But until today, I never thought much about the other car, a white Mustang crushed and burning. He was indeed a dashing man, a backseat full of his own souvenirs to take home to his pregnant girlfriend, whose parents made her stay home. Tonight, another ghost will join the others among the stars and stillness. Sorry. Anyway, there's no Anastasia. The infirmary Les Enfants.
Oh, you're disappointing.
The infirmary Les Enfants was formerly a hospital for children, but as the good reputation of the physicians and nurses at the infirmary had been noised about, the most gravely ill patients were often brought there. And in spite of the often desperate efforts of medical science, the infirmary had largely become a hospital for the dying. It was at the infirmary that the mad philosopher Soren K. worked, washing the wooden floors, porcelain bowls and basin, and brass and silver medical instruments. And because he was a philosopher, Soren K. had written books on existentialism and phenomenology. And because he was mad, Soren K. often blurted out in happy singing while sweeping the floors and the wards of the most miserable and deathly ill patients. But do not think that Soren K. meant to mock the patients or in any way intensify their misery. For Soren K. was a believer and true messenger of the good news to the world. Soren K. sang the same song every time, and his words became a strange comfort to the dying. A wanderer man, softly twisted in the sand, thin and agile, walked 1,000 miles. A wanderer man, twisted softly in the sand, Rib cage is showing on his back, long hair blowing, a sea turtle wash ashore on the sand. His absurd turtle head was sunken and dead. His turtle heart beating and his throat was no more. His fiery sun-bruised flesh was red and bronze. His absurd turtle laugh, an absurd turtle love, his absurd turtle face of an imbecile beside the wanderer man, softly twisted in the sand. An old salt of Algiers sailed 10,000 years. A wanderer man twisted softly in the sand, a sailor to Sidon, he's the Lion of Zion. A sea turtle washed ashore on the sand. His absurd turtle head is a sunken treasure. As a mermaid swooned at the palace of Neptune, the sea turtle's head arose again. A wanderer man crucified and bled, the ocean of grave, he is risen again. A wanderer man crucified and bled, the ocean of grave, he is risen again. The wanderer man.
So John. What's going on back there? Better check behind your piano. That's Alfred.
Oh, okay. I couldn't think of that for some reason. It looked like an O.
Alfred.
Oh, Alfred.
Alfred.
Up here, man.
Jim, behave yourself back there. It'll take me 3 months to tune that thing. All right. I got a poem tonight by Amy Lowell, then I have one of my own poems. This is called Free Fantasia on Japanese Themes. All the afternoon there has been a chirping of birds, and the sun lies warm and still on the western sides of swollen branches. There is no wind. Even the little twigs at the ends of branches do not move. And the needles of the pines are solid, bands of inarticulated blackness against the blue-white sky, still but alert. And my heart is still and alert, passive with sunshine, avid of adventure. I would experience new emotions, submit to strange enchantments, bend to influences bizarre and exotic. Fresh with burgoyning, I would climb a sacred mountain, struggle with other pilgrims up a steep path through pine trees, above to the smooth, treeless slopes, and prostrate myself before a painted shrine, beating my hands upon the hot earth, quieting my eyes upon the distant sparkle of the faint spring sea. I would recline upon a balcony in purple, curving folds of silk, and my dress should be silvered with a pattern of butterflies and swallows, and the black band of my obi should flash with gold circular threads and glitter when I moved. I would lean against the railing while you sang to me of wars, past and to come. Sang and played the samisen. Perhaps I would beat a little hand drum in time to your singing. Perhaps I would only watch the play of light upon the hilt of your two swords. I would sit in a covered boat, rocking slowly to the narrow waves of a river, while above us, an arc of moving lanterns curved a bridge, a hiss of gold. Blooming out of darkness, rockets exploded and died in a soft dripping of colored stars. We would float between the high trestles and drift away from our boats until the rockets flared soundless. And their falling stars hung silent in the sky like wisteria clusters above the ancient entrance of a temple. I would anything rather than this cold paper, with outside the quiet sun on the sides of burgeoning branches, and inside only my boats.